Playhouse. I'm Bruce Bieshke. The gauge of a standard American railroad, the distance between the tracks, is 4 foot 8.5 inches. 4 foot 8.5 inches. That's odd. Why is it 4 foot 8.5 inches? Well, that's because the first railroads in the United States were built by Englishmen, because the railroad was invented in England. And so when the engineers came over here to build the railroad, and they brought with them the cars and the engines and the locomotives, they were all built for a gauge of 4 foot 8.5 inches, because that was the gauge in England. All right, so why do English railroads have a gauge of 4 foot 8.5 inches? Well, that's because the infant railroad industry, when it was very young, had to compete with English tramways for freight. English tramway is very similar to a railroad. It's a series of tracks that wagons were loaded on, and there was teams of horses to the side that pulled the wagons. And so if the railroad wanted its share of freight, it had to match the gauge of the tramway so that the freight masters could transfer entire wagons rather than load and unload. All right. So why do English tramways have a gauge of 4 foot 8.5 inches? Well, that's because they use the same jigs and fixtures that the English wagon makers used. Good. So why do English wagon makers decide that the axle width of an English wagon should be 4 foot 8.5 inches? Well, that's because it was vital that the wagon wheels fit in the ruts of the long distance English roads. Because if they didn't fit, you risk breaking an axle or breaking a wheel, which was time consuming and expensive. All right, who built the first long distance English roads? That's easy, the Romans. And what cut the grooves into the long-distance English roads? That's easy too. Roman war chariots, because Roman war chariots had a band of iron around the outside of the wheel to give it extra strength to keep the chariot active in battle. And when the chariots rode on the bricks, they cut grooves into the bricks. Now, the Roman war chariots were of imperial design, meaning that a chariot built in Britain was exactly the same as a chariot built in Syria or a chariot built in Rome itself. So, why did Roman war chariots have an axle width of 4 foot 8.5 inches? That was decided, that was the perfect width to accommodate 2 Roman war horses, which provided the horsepower to pull the chariots. Now, flash forward to the 20th century. On the space shuttle, there's 2 solid rocket fuel boosters. We've all seen them. After the blast off, after the launch, the solid fuel boosters break off after about 45 seconds, a minute into the trip, and they fall into the ocean. Now, those boosters are manufactured by the Theracol company in Utah. And they wanted to build them bigger, but they couldn't. Because even though the boosters are built in Utah, the space shuttle is assembled in Florida at Cape Canaveral. And so the boosters have to be shipped via rail through the mountain tunnels, which are just slightly larger than the gauge of the tracks. So, what is arguably the most advanced transportation system ever designed by man has a major design feature limited by the size of the rear ends of 2 Roman war horses. So, if you are ever looking at a set of plans or blueprints, and you ask yourself, what horse's patoot came up with these specifications? Now you know. Now, fire marshal wants you to know that there's another door in the back. Washroom is in the back, water cooler's in the back. Landlord wants you to know that there's another parking lot to the north and east of here. It's flat, it's level, it's lit, it's limited access. It has about 100 spaces. You will never have a problem parking when you come to the Comedy Playhouse. And I want you to know that in the front corner are the concessions. There's soda, there's water, there's candy, there's chips. Buy something. Be good to yourself. You know you deserve it. I'll tell you a secret. If you look inside the refrigerator the freezer section of the refrigerator, the little door on top, you'll find frozen peanut butter cups. Who else takes care of you like that? Now, next to the concessions is the wine. The wine is free. On the house, Cheers to my theater friends. Guaranteed to make the play funnier. And next to the wine is a sign-up sheet. There's a music stand, there's a sign-up sheet for the newsletter. If you'd like to know what's going on around here, what plays are coming up, actor of the month, a couple of jokes, sign up for the newsletter, give me your email address. I promise I won't flood your mailbox. And next to the newsletter is little yellow sheets. Nathan Christensen, the theater critic for the Tucson Weekly, is giving some classes, in one for teens in playwriting, one for teens and adults in musical playwriting. Now, if you've read Nathan's work, he's a very good wordsmith. He writes very interesting sentences. So if you know anybody, or if you're interested, take a yellow flyer. And in return, you're a part of the bargain. If you like what you see here, tell your friends. Because that's how theater succeeds in this town, is word of mouth. And I promise you, when you walk through my door, you can expect 2 hours, give or take, of comedy or mystery, presented with as much verve and gusto as I and my cast can muster. So if you like what you see, tell your friends. Now, a senior couple was having memory issues. So they went to a therapist once, twice, 3 times. And the male member of that couple was talking to his neighbor. The neighbor asked, well, how are the therapy sessions going? Man said, oh, they're going fine. The neighbor asked, well, what does the therapist teach you? And the man said, well, the therapist teaches you to associate mental pictures with what you're trying to remember. The neighbor said, really? He said, does it work? Man said, yeah, it works. So the neighbor asked, well, what's the name of the therapist? And the man said, it's a flower. A flower, and it smells nice. It's got thorns. And the neighbor said, a rose? And the man said, yeah, that's right, Rose. Rose, what's the name of that therapist we're going to see? All right, let's get on with the Dover Road.
Well, we'd had an accident, you see, being delayed on the road, and he said you could put us out. Saunders, this can't be the place.
Saunders has gone, Leonard.
Gone? What the devil did
Saunders is perfectly correct, my lord. This is a Salted hotel. Doubtless he has gone round to the garage to get the doors open.
Yes, but you can put us up. Just for tonight, my wife and myself.
If your lordship and her ladyship will come in.
Well, that's the best we can do, I'm afraid. Dreadfully sorry about the whole thing, after all.
My dear Sale, be quite comfortable. It's only for one night.
Thank you, my lady. Allow me, my lady.
Oh, yes. You can give us something to eat, yes?
I don't want anything, Leonard.
Nonsense, dear.
Supper will be served in 5 minutes, my lord.
Do you know who we are?
I have not that pleasure, my lady.
Then why do you keep calling me milady?
My dear.
Leonard, no. Well?
His lordship kept mentioning that your ladyship was his wife.
Yes, so you know him by sight?
Dear, that really shouldn't surprise you.
I know his lordship's rank, not his lordship's name.
Right, Frank, what the devil?
Supper will be served in 5 minutes, my lady.
I must say, it's like a dashed, rummy sort of hotel.
Leonard, I don't like it.
Nonsense, dear.
It's as if they expected us.
Oh, my dear child, how could they? In any ordinary sense, we should have been at Dover. Well, almost at Clay by this time.
I know. Why aren't we?
Well, you know, the car. Saunders, that fool of a chauffeur, a series of unfortunate accidents.
Do you often have these unfortunate accidents, Leonard?
My dear, you are by no means suggesting that I've done this on purpose.
No, but why tonight of all nights?
Yes, I know. I know it is damn annoying missing the boat, but we'll get it in the morning. We shall be in Paris tomorrow night.
But tomorrow night makes such a difference. I hate every hour we spend together like this in England.
Really, I don't see why.
Well, you must take it that I do. I told you from the start it was run away or nothing with me. There's going to be no lies, no evasions, no pretenses. Seems less sorted to begin our new life together in a new country. Perhaps the French, for what we're doing, isn't quite as crude as the English. I know it's absurd of me, but there it is.
Nonsense. My aunt concerned about what other people think. Now, with a bit you stage here.
Really, Leonard, I think we ought to leave your wife out of this conversation.
I beg your pardon.
Perhaps you're right. In a crisis, we're all alike. We women.
No, damn it all, I won't have it. It's blasphemous. And, darling.
So I'm different, am I?
Darling.
I'm not a bit like anybody else, even when I'm cross.
Darling.
And you do love me.
Darling.
No.
Yes, well, suppose you're right, Anne. There is something odd about this place.
So you do feel it now.
Yes, but what did he mean when he said that he knew my rank but not my name?
Perhaps he looked inside your cap like Sherlock Holmes and saw the embroidered cornet inside of it.
What do you mean? There's nothing inside my cap.
I know, darling. It was a joke.
Better table laid out. Only one table.
Yes, but it was set for 3. They weren't expecting us.
So it is, so it is. Must be some new idea in hotels, some new stunt of heads, or what's the other fellow's name? Lion, yes, a country house hotel. Oh, and what would you care to drink? If we could have a wine this, my good man.
Barlington 1926 has been ordered, my lord.
Ordered, sir. Very nice. Ordered?
Mr. Latimer will be done in 2 minutes, my lady. He asks you to forgive him for not being here to receive you.
Mr. Latimer. Who on earth is Mr. Latimer?
Would you like to be shown your room, my lady?
No, thank you.
My good man, is this a hotel? I have we come to a private house by mistake?
This is a sort of hotel. I assure your lordship there has been no mistake. Thank you, my lady.
Original man Herod, or is it Limes?
Now get to the bottom of this.
Why bother? Mr. Latimer will be here in 2 minutes.
Yes, but who the devil is Mr. Latimer?
Leonard, do you always plan something so fascinating when you elope? I find it so romantic of you.
My dear, what are you driving at? I ask you again, do you really think that I arranged all this?
No, but somebody did.
Mr. Latimer!
Good evening. Forgive me for having myself announced in my own house, but I find it saves so much time. If I would come in and say, I'm Mr. Latimer, you would have to say, I'm so-and-so, and this is exactly, we can get on so much better without names.
Yes,
But naturally you're thinking we must call each other something. I think I shall call you Leonard. There's something so very, forgive the liberty, Leonardish about you. I'm sure you agree.
I'm wondering whether this is really happening or whether I'm dreaming it.
And Leonard isn't wondering at all. He's simply standing there tapping his forehead with a great deal of expression.
Yes, well, that's quite enough of that, Mr. Latimer. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt, but if you are not mad, then I'll ask for some other explanation for all this nonsense.
Impetuous fellow, Leonard. Surely it must be obvious to everyone else in the room that an explanation would be forthcoming. But why not a friendly explanation following a friendly supper?
Are we your guests?
Please.
Oh.
Now there's still the question of names. We've settled on Leonard.
My name is Anne.
Thank you, Miss Anne.
But my, wife.
Then I'm tempted to drop the word miss. Supper is served. Anne, won't you sit here? And, Leonard.
Thank you.
shall sit here. A little fish, a little bird, a little sweet, enough to drink but not too much to eat. I composed that in my bath this morning.
Oh.
The wine has been waiting for you since 1926. Dominic, we would be alone. My friends, a toast. A happy ending.
A happy ending.
You're not drinking, Leonard. You would have the adventure end unhappily as in the way of the modern novel.
But I don't understand the beginning of it, Mr. Lapham. You forgive me for saying this. I don't see how you come into all this. Who are you?
Our host, Leonard.
So it seems, my dear. But in that case, how did we come here? My chauffeur said this was a hotel. Your man assured me when I asked this was a hotel, a sort of a hotel. Now it seems we're in a private house. And moreover, it seems that we have been expected. Well, don't mind my saying. It's a rather unusual sort of house. I tell you quite frankly, I don't understand it.
I see your difficulty, Leonard.
But nor am I accustomed to being called Leonard by a perfect stranger.
What does it matter?
But then you like fish, and Leonard doesn't.
And find no fault with the fish. You have an excellent cook.
I beg your pardon. His lordship likes the fish.
Yes, sir. I will inform the cook.
Well, I'm really afraid we must be going. Mr. Latimer, we are much obliged for your hospitality, but, I imagine we are not far from Dover.
On the Dover Road, certainly.
Exactly. So if you could have instructions given to my chauffeur.
Dominic, his lordship's glass is empty. He wishes to drink to my health.
Beg your pardon, my lord?
And while his lordship is up, find him another chair. He's been uneasy in that one all through the fish.
Beg your pardon, my lord?
Yes.
Dominic, you may now admit the bird. Prosit! And now for the bird. I like these little ceremonies between courses, don't you?
I'm liking my supper.
I'm so glad. I shot the bird myself. What is it, Dominic?
Chicken casserole with mushrooms, sir.
Chicken. Casserole. With mushrooms. I shot the mushrooms? Dear me, surely not a third chair?
Look, this farce has gone on long enough, Mr. Latimer. I do not intend to sit here through a whole meal without some further explanation. Now, either we get that explanation now, or else we should be getting on our way.
Ah, but which is your way?
But the Dover Road. My chauffeur seems to have gotten off the track a little, but if you could point us towards the Dover Road.
Dover Road. Dover Road. A dangerous road, my friends. And you're traveling in the dark.
Really, Mr. Latimer, that needn't frighten us.
What do you mean?
A new road for you, Anne. Strange and untraveled.
What do you mean? She's often been this way before, haven't you, my dear?
No, but I'm not frightened, Mr. Latimer.
Dominic, his lordship liked the chicken too much to eat it. He adored the mushrooms in silence. Inform the cook.
Yes, sir.
Well, shall we? Now, Anne, we must find you a place to sit. How about here? And Leonard, we must find someplace especially comfortable for you. You're a little finicky about chairs, if you don't mind me saying. Why don't you try here, see how you like it.
Thank you.
And I shall sit here.
We are waiting, Mr. Lamb.
I am waiting, Leonard, for your questions.
May I begin with one? When we arrived, your table was set for 3. For who were the other 2 places intended?
For yourself and Leonard.
So you were expecting us?
Yes.
How did you know we were coming?
Saunders had his instructions to bring you.
Saunders? My chauffeur? You mean to say that you had the audacity to bribe my chauffeur?
No, I mean to say that you had the foolhardiness to hire my friend Saunders to be your chauffeur.
How dare you interfere in my concerns in this way, sir?
Before you explain how you dare, I should like to know why you're so eager for our company. Who are you?
Nothing more than Mr. Latimer. It's a purely impersonal interest I take, and I take it because you're traveling on the Dover Road. Dangerous road for a young girl to travel.
I don't think I asked you to be so interested in me.
Nobody does, but I am. In all my fellow travelers, it is my hobby.
And?
The door is locked, Leonard.
Then I shall give you 1 minute in which to open it.
Dominic, his lordship's face is a bit too close to mine. Could you?
Good.
Thank you. By the way, did you get round to the hospital this afternoon?
Yes, sir. The young gentleman is getting on rather nicely. He was able to take a little bread and milk this morning.
I'm glad. Nothing solid yet.
No, sir. The jaw is still very tender.
He bumped it against Dominic's knuckles last week. Impetuous fellow. He was running away with... I forget her name. I always forget names. I think he called her Kitty. She had several children.
It's a little display of force you're showing us now.
Yes, I thought it better. Leonard is so impetuous. Dominic is a very heavy faller. He seldom has to fall on a man twice. If all this is understood at the beginning, it makes things so much easier.
So, we are to be kept here by force.
Oh, need we insist on it? Let us just say you have postponed your trip to France in order to spend a few days with a friend.
Well, here we are, and here we must stay, apparently. But I still don't understand why you're so eager for our company.
You have the advantage of me now, sir, but you shall not always have it. The time will come when I shall demand satisfaction for this insult, this gross insult against myself and my wife.
No, not your wife.
How dare you, sir?
Well, surely I'm not mistaken. You are running away, aren't you?
Really?
What's the use, Leonard? We're not ashamed, are we? Yes, we're running away together.
But of course, why not? You're not ashamed of it, are you, Leonard?
Well, I object to this interference in my private matters.
Yes, but you've said all that before. It's interfering of me, damnably interfering. But I'm only doing it because I want you both to be happy.
I can look after my own happiness, thank you.
And this, ladies?
She shall be good enough to believe it.
I am not a child. You think I haven't thought about the scandal, the good name I'm going to lose, the position of that other woman? I have thought of it all.
There is one thing you haven't thought of, Anne.
I'm afraid you're old-fashioned. You're going to speak to me of morality.
No, I wasn't.
You believe what the fairy books tell us, that once a man and a woman are married, they live happily ever after.
No, I don't.
You're a bachelor. You live within these high walls, keeping the world out. I'm the wicked woman coming between the happy husband and his wife. Is that it?
Rubbish. Happy. Right. This is my first real chance at happiness.
His first real chance at happiness, as he said when he proposed to Eustacia.
What's that?
May I ask you some questions now?
Yes.
Eustacia will divorce you.
We shall not defend the suit.
And then you will marry Anne?
Another insult. I shall not forget it.
I beg your pardon, I simply wanted to know something.
Yes, he will marry me.
And as the fairy books tell us, you will live happily ever after?
I venture to
And
say
as the fairy books tell us, you will live happily ever after? I live behind these high walls which keep the world out. I am old-fashioned. You are modern. You know the world. You don't believe in the fairy books. And yet, you will live happily ever after?
that I really don't see what you're driving at.
Anne does.
I take the risk, Mr. Latimer.
Oh, but what a risk to venture marriage with a man whose only qualification for the profession is that he's tried it once and made a damn hash of it.
Really?
Isn't it true?
Well, I think my marriage was not a happy one, but I venture to say that I don't wish to say anything against Eustacia.
Oh, go on. Life is too short for us always to be gentlemen.
Well, very well. I shall only say that not even Saint Michael and all his angels could have made a success of it. I mean, not even Saint Michael.
And yet you chose her?
Well,
No, Anne. I'm not being moral. You see, I'm a very rich man. And we have it on very good authority. It's very difficult for a very rich man to be a very good man. But being a very rich man, I try to spend my money in ways so as to make other people happy. It's the only truly happy way of spending money, isn't it? It is my hobby to try to prevent unhappy marriages.
I must say, your intentions may be good. Indeed, I remind you that your interference is utterly unwarranted, and you are entirely mistaken as to the power and authority which your money gives you.
Authority, none. But power, Leonard. If I were to offer you £100,000 to go back to your wife tonight, this lady would never see you again.
Well, of all the devilish things to say.
How damnable the truth is. You're a poor man for your position, Leonard. Think of all the things you could do with £100,000. Turn it over in your mind, and over again. £100,000, Leonard.
Is this part of the treatment, me being shown my lover as a mercenary?
No, no. If it were part of my treatment, there'd be no marriages at all. No, Leonard, it's off. It's not a genuine offer. You needn't think about it anymore. Besides, I don't want to separate you by force. I've no right to.
How modest, suddenly.
Oh, madam, I admire your spirit.
Leonard, I'm receiving attention from another man. Beware of jealousy.
You're splendid. No, I meant what I said a moment ago. I don't want to prevent you from going on the Dover Road. I'm only asking you to wait a few days to see how you get on. It may be that you two are the perfect soulmates, that your union has been decreed in heaven and shall be watched over by the angels, in which case no one shall rejoice in your happiness more than I. But Anne, let us have a little common sense before we venture marriage with a man who's always making a mess of it. We both know what Leonard is, how hopeless he is as a husband.
I don't know if that's quite fair.
Well, you've never made a happy marriage yet, as far as we can tell, have you, Leonard?
I don't wish to say anything against Eustacia.
Oh, aren't you shouting it all the time? Why else are you here? But don't try to pretend that it's all Eustasia's fault,
Well,
or that it would be all Anne's fault next year.
what do you mean next year?
I beg your pardon, I should have said year after next.
I think I'm going to bed. How long would you need us to wait?
Can you spare a week? You with so many years in front of you.
I wrote a note to my father telling him what I was doing. I don't see him much, but I thought it polite. Will that interfere with your plans at all?
Not at all. You see, there was a little difficulty in the delivery of that note. Your father thinks you're spending a few days with friends in Kent. Great power, money.
Well, I congratulate you on the precision of your methods. Good night.
Her ladyship will retire.
Yes, sir.
Good night, Miss Anne.
Without prejudice.
Ah, but you are prejudicing me entirely. Well, Leonard, note for your father?
You ought to know. You seem to have your conspirators everywhere. Saunders and perhaps Anne's maid and God knows who else.
Money, Leonard, money. Well, it won't do either of you any harm to spend a few days here. Help yourself to a whiskey and water.
I'm not quite sure how to drink in your house.
You will be thirsty before you leave.
Well,
That's right. Help yourself.
please understand that I do this, as I do everything in your house, under protest.
Your protest is noted.
Now, as they say, your conduct is perfectly outrageous. Perfectly outrageous. And I shall go to bed as soon as I have drunk this.
You wouldn't care for a game of billiards first?
I'm not in the mood for billiards.
By the way, Leonard, there's another couple here. Their week of probation is up. They'll be leaving us tomorrow.
I am not interested in your earlier crimes.
I think you'd be interested in this one.
I can assure you I am not.
There's a fascinating article here by Sidney Webb about the common man. You ought to read it.
I am not interested in the common man.
Breakfast is at 10 o'clock. In here.
Then I shall eat it under protest.
You're off. Then I'll say good night. Good night.
This way, my lord.
Thank you.
Finished, darling?
Yes, thank you, Eustacia.
More toast?
No, thank you, Eustacia.
Just a little tiny, teeny, weeny bit more if his Eustacia butters it for him?
No, thank you, I've really finished.
More coffee?
No, thank you, Eustacia.
Just a tiny, teeny little bit of a cup if his Eustacia pours it out for her own Nicholas and puts the sugar in with her own little fingers.
No more coffee, thank you.
Then he shall sit in a more comfy chair and smoke his nasty hard pipe that he loves so much better than his Eustacia. He doesn't really love it better, does he?
Of course. He doesn't. Oh, of course he doesn't.
Then kiss her to show her he doesn't.
You baby.
Ow!
What is it?
Nicholas never had an apple.
No, thank you, I don't want one.
Oh, but he must have an apple. It is so good for him. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. And you must keep the doctor away, darling, else Eustacia will be so miserable.
I finished my breakfast.
Even if his Eustacia peels it for him?
No, thank you, I assure you I've had all I want.
Sure.
Quite sure. Now, where are we going to sit?
Nicholas sit there. Eustacia sitting next to him.
Right.
Shall Eustacia rub his neck?
No, thank you. Eustacia,
Yes, darling.
we've been here a week.
Yes, darling. A wonderful, wonderful week. And today we're going to leave this dear little house where we've been so happy and go out in the world together, Nicholas.
A week, and except for the first day, we've had all our meals together, alone.
Alone, Nicholas.
4 meals a day, that's 24 meals.
24.
And at every one of those meals, you have asked me at least 4 times to have something more after I'd already said I didn't want anything more. Or in other words, you have forced me to say, no, thank you, Eustacia, 96 times, and there was no need for it.
Nicholas.
We are both young. I am 30. You are...
29.
You are 29. If all goes well, we may look to have 50 more years together, say 2,500 weeks. Multiply that by 100, and you see that in the joint course of our lives, you will, at present rate, force me to say, no, thank you, Eustacia, 250,000 times more than is necessary.
Nicholas,
I was wondering if we could come to some arrangement, that's all.
you're cruel. Cruel.
I was just wondering if we could come to some arrangements. Darling, don't. There. I'm sorry.
Nicholas, darling.
Nicholas is sorry. I shouldn't have said anything. Please forgive me.
It's just that I love you so much and I want you to be well and you must eat.
Yes, yeah, I know. It's dear of you.
Ask any doctor, he will tell you you must eat.
Yes, darling.
You must eat.
Yes, darling.
Oh, what's a wife for if it's not to look after her husband when he is ill and to make sure that he eats?
All right, dear. We won't say anything more about it.
And when you had that nasty cold the day after we arrived here, I did look after you and take care of you and make you well again, didn't I, Nicholas?
Yes. Don't think I'm not grateful. You were very kind. Too kind.
Oh, no, not too kind, darling. I love looking after you and doing things for you and taking care of you. Leonard was never ill.
Leonard?
My husband.
Oh. I never thought of him as Leonard. I prefer not to think about him at all. I've never met him and I don't want to talk about him.
No, darling, I don't want to either.
We've taken the plunge and there's no going back on it.
Darling?
Oh, as a man of honor, well, you can't go back, can you? No, I took you away and here we are. Here we are.
Darling, you're not regretting?
No. Oh, God, no. Listen. I'm not regretting. I love you. I've never been more happy. Without happy, I've never been more happy. Eustacia, can you hear me?
Oh, darling, you frightened me so. For a moment, I thought you were regretting.
No.
Oh, how right Mr. Latimer was.
It was indeed.
How little we really knew of each other when you asked me to come away with you.
How little.
But this week has shown us to each other as we really are.
It has.
And now I feel absolutely safe. We are ready to face the world together, Nicholas.
Ready to face the world together.
Darling, what is it?
Nothing, Eustacia, nothing, just happiness.
Good morning, my friends, good morning.
Good morning.
So you're leaving me today and going on your way.
Yes.
Oh, yes, but we shall never forget this week, dear Mr. Latimer.
And you've forgiven me for asking you to wait a week, just to be sure?
Oh, yes. I was telling Nicholas how right you were just a moment ago, wasn't I, Nicholas?
Yes, just a minute ago. Just a lifetime ago.
And now you're sure of yourselves.
Oh, so sure, so very sure. Aren't we, Nicholas?
Absolutely sure.
Well, I don't wish to hurry you, but if there's any little thing you need to do, the car will be leaving in half an hour.
Half an hour? I must fly.
By the way, you may be interested to know I had 2 visitors last night.
Mr. Latimer, you mean another couple?
Yes, another romantic couple.
Oh, if I could but see them a moment before we go, to reconcile them to this week of probation, to tell them what a wonderful week it can be.
You shall. I promise you, you shall.
Oh, thank you, dear Mr. Latimer. Thank you.
I say,
Well,
supposing well, it's not as though we're, of course, as a man of honor, half an hour. Suppose I should be getting ready.
Nicholas?
Yes?
Just a moment.
Yes?
Cheer up.
What? Suppose I should be getting ready.
Good morning, Dominic.
Good morning, sir. A nice-ish morning it seems to be, sir.
A very nice-ish morning indeed. I have great hopes for the world today.
I'm very glad to hear it, sir.
We must all do what we can, Dominic.
That's the only way, isn't it, sir?
Great hopes, great hopes.
The paper, sir.
Are there any marriages this morning? Let us see. Oh, quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 happy people, Dominic.
Let us hope so, sir.
Let us hope so, Dominic. By the way, how was his lordship this morning?
A little depressed, sir.
Ah,
There seems to have been some misunderstanding about his luggage, sir. A little carelessness on the part of somebody, I imagine, sir.
dear me, didn't it come with you?
I'm afraid not, sir.
Tut, tut. How careless of somebody. Well, I dare say a little breakfast will do his lordship good.
Yes, sir. Are you ready for breakfast now, sir?
Good morning, Anne. May I trust that you slept
Oh,
well?
very well, thank you.
All right, Dominic.
Thank you, sir.
Are you ready for breakfast?
Quite ready. When can we have the car?
The car?
Leonard's car.
You wish to continue your adventure?
Why not?
Oh, what a pity. Shall we say 25 minutes?
That will do quite nicely.
But we must let Leonard have a little breakfast if he's to cross the channel today. In 25 minutes, then?
Shall I see you before I go?
If only to wish you Godspeed. Leonard, good morning!
Good God, I didn't see you there.
Well, you were so hungry. I trust you slept well.
Good, I slept. Well, there's all the damn draft is. Yes, and what about my luggage?
Lost your
Did
luggage?
you never put it on the car, your man?
Dear me, we must inquire into this. That's very unfortunate, Leonard, to lose your luggage on your honeymoon. That means bad luck. Dominic, what's this about his lordship's luggage?
There must have been some misunderstanding about it, sir. A little carelessness on the part of somebody, I imagine, sir.
Dear me, didn't it come with you?
I'm afraid not, sir.
Tut, tut. How careless of somebody. Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, how exceedingly annoying. Lost your luggage. What is it? Oh, yes. At any rate, I can offer you a handkerchief. That is a nasty cold you've got there. How wise of you to come down in your dressing gown.
It's the only thing I had to put on.
The only thing you had to put on? What about the nice gray suit you were wearing yesterday? I seem to remember... Dominic, what's this about his lordship's suit?
Owing to a regretful misunderstanding, sir, his lordship's luggage was
I'm not talking about his 25 other suits. I'm talking about the nice gray suit he was wearing yesterday. Just a moment. I remember noticing it. I remember saying to myself, what a nice gray suit Leonard is wearing. Where is it, Dominic?
Yes, sir. I seem to recall the suit to which you are referring. I regret to say that there was an unfortunate accident with it.
Damn carelessness.
Joseph, the groom, was bringing back the clothes after brushing them, sir, and happened to have them in his hands while bending over the bath to test the temperature of the water for his lordship. A little surprised by the unexpected heat of the water, Joseph relinquished the clothes for a moment and precipitated them into the bath.
How extremely careless of Joseph.
Yes, sir, I've already reprimanded him.
Fellow ought to be shot.
Quite right, Leonard. Dominic, shoot Joseph this morning.
Yes, sir.
And make sure that his lordship's suit is dried at once.
Yes, sir. It is being dried now, sir.
It must be dried thoroughly. His lordship has a cold. That's a very nasty cold you've got there, Leonard. You're subject to colds, are you?
It's the first one I've ever had in my life.
Did you hear that, Dominic? The first one he's ever had in his life.
Yes, sir. If you remember, sir, Mr. Nicholas and 2 other gentlemen who have slept there caught a very nasty cold as well. Must be something the matter with the room.
It's the damn draft in this room. I know
You should have told me sooner. We must have that room seen to. And make sure his lordship has a different room tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
My dear fellow, I am distressed beyond words. But you know the old saying, feed a cold, starve a fever. You must eat, we will suffocate this cold of yours. How wise of you not to have shaved this morning. The protection offered by a beard, though small, is salutary, but I'm forgetting myself. You lost your razor too?
It's the damn fools. Just...
You must let me lend you mine.
Oh, I wish you would.
Yeah, I'll get it at once. In the meantime, eat. We must show this cold of yours no quarter.
Leonard, my dear. Oh, my dear Leonard.
Oh, good morning, Anne.
No, please, do go on with your
How are
breakfast.
you this morning?
Well, what is it?
Go. Nasty cold. Can't understand it. First I've ever had in my life.
Do you sneeze like that much?
Off and on.
Oh. Shouldn't you finish your breakfast?
Well, I would if you don't mind. It's a good thing for a cold, isn't it? Eat a lot.
I know very little about colds. Please do go on with your breakfast.
Have you had yours?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Have you tried one of these kippers?
No.
Yes. I'll say this for Latter's cook. She knows how to do a kipper. Much more difficult than people think.
I know very little about kippers. Leonard, I should like to speak to you.
Well, go ahead, darling. I'm listening.
I should like your full attention if I can have it.
Well, fire away, darling. All my time is yours. Ah.
Have you finished your kippers?
Yes.
What will you have next?
Oh, well, what do you suggest?
Omelette?
What's in the other dish? Ooh, kidneys. And what are they like?
Well, you can see what they look like.
I should try one.
Yes, I've had several. They were lovely. Here you have bread and butter and salt. What is it?
Pepper.
Pepper. Is that it?
Yes, thank you.
Now, before you actually begin, I should like to speak to you.
Well, you're very mysterious. What is it?
There's nothing mysterious about it. It is quite plain and obvious. Only I do want you to grasp it.
Well, well, yeah. Well,
The car will be here in a quarter of an hour.
the car.
The automobile.
But whose?
Well, more precisely yours.
What for?
We're running away together, dear. You and I. It may have slipped your mind, but I can assure you it is fact. The car will take us to Dover, and the boat will take us to Calais, and the train will take us to the south of France, dear. You and I, once you have finished your breakfast.
about Latimer.
Just you and I, dear. The usual number. Just the two of us. Mr. Latimer will not be coming along.
My dear, you seem to have quite forgotten that this Latimer chap is called us here. I have not forgotten. I eat his kidneys now, but he shall hear from me hereafter. Damn little fit.
Leonard, have you been dreaming? Between all these kidneys and kippers and things?
Dreaming.
The car will be here in a quarter of an hour. Why not? It's your car. This is England. This is the 20th century. We miss the boat, but we go on our way in the morning. Why not?
Well, you know, I said last night that it was silly for Latimer to talk this way. I mean, what business is it of his? But, yeah, it was just a silly joke. That's what I thought all along. Bad taste, too.
Leonard, have you been listening to me? I don't know how long it takes you to shave and dress properly and comb your hair, but I fancy you ought to be thinking about it quite seriously. You can have some more kidneys another time.
Well, I can't go looking like this.
No, that's what I say.
I mean, I don't have any luggage to begin with. And with a cold like this, I really don't think that I should.
You've lost your luggage.
But it was never put on the car, according to Tony.
You let yourself be tricked and humiliated by this man.
But
You let me be humiliated. And then when I say that, something happens. I will not be humiliated. You lose your luggage.
well, I didn't lose it. It just happens to be lost.
Catch a cold.
I didn't catch it. It caught me.
Humiliation of it. And what do you propose to do now?
Well, as soon as my luggage arrives and I'm well enough to travel, then
Meanwhile, you accept this man's hospitality.
under protest, I shall keep a careful account of everything we have here, and then,
Well, that's your third kidney. You better make note of it.
it just so happens that I was reaching for a trifle more bacon. Yes, I should keep a careful account of everything we have here, and I'll write him a check for our room and lodging as soon as we have left this room.
Oh. Well, I've had a cup of coffee. And a piece of toast with a little marmalade, about a spoonful. And I've had a cup of tea upstairs with 2 thin slices of bread with butter. Oh, and I've had 2 baths. They're extra, aren't they? I had a hot one last night and a cold one this morning. I think that's it. Oh, wait, but there was dinner last night, and you wouldn't let me finish that, so I suspect there'll be a reduction. Would you like a notebook with a little pencil in it, Leonard?
I say,
Do go on with your breakfast.
you're hardly being fair. Besides, we can't go right now anyways. I haven't got a pair of trousers to put on.
You're not going to say you've lost those too.
But it's a damn fool of a man who just...
Whatever made you think you could take anybody to the south of France, Leonard? So audacious of you.
I say, look here.
Now then, Leonard would have you all right in just a minute. Oh, Anne, I hope you don't mind waiting while Leonard has shaved. He was going to grow a special beard for the continent, but I persuaded him the French accent would be quite enough. Now, Leonard, I hope you don't mind using Wednesday's blade. I used Tuesday's this morning myself.
Mr. Latimer, we will not be needing the car after all.
No.
No, poor Leonard. He's too ill to travel. Perhaps tomorrow. We'll have to trespass on your hospitality until then.
But I'm charmed to have you. Let me tell your maid to unpack.
Oh, don't bother. I have to take my hat off. I shan't be a moment. Leonard, darling.
Well then, Leonard, darling, to work. Where are you going?
Well, upstairs.
Is that wise with a cold like yours?
I can't shave down here.
Oh, we can't stand on ceremony when your life is at stake. Weren't you just complaining not 5 minutes ago about how drafty your room was? Now here we have a nice, even temperature.
Well, there is something in that?
There's everything in it. You've never had a cold before, so you don't know, but any doctor will tell you how important it is to stay in a room with a nice, even temperature. You mustn't dream of going upstairs. Now,
Well,
have you got everything you need?
yes. Thank you.
Then I'll leave you to it.
Hello.
Tom and Harry own a hotel on the Jersey Shore. And the only residents of the hotel are mosquitoes, sand, and a few old fossils. So they hatch a plan to liven the place up. They decide to hire a guest retainer to flirt with the ladies and flatter the ladies and light a fire under the old fossils to get something going here. Well, their plan works better than they ever expected. Soon the hotel is overflowing with business. And now the question is, will the hotel survive the guest retainer, or will the guest retainer survive the guests? Now, at the end of a tent meeting, the preacher said, "All right, anyone with special needs form a line here, we'll pray for you." So Bubba got in the line. And eventually he got to the head of the line, and the preacher said, "Brother, what is your special need?" And Bubba said, "Well, Reverend, I need help with my hearing." And the Reverend put one hand on Bubba's ear, put the other hand in the sky, and he began to pray and pray. And the congregation prayed and prayed, and together they prayed and prayed till there was a crack of lightning. The preacher pulled his hands away and said, "Brother, how's your hearing now?" And Bubba said, "I don't know, Reverend. It's not till next Wednesday." Now the second half of the guest retainer.
Hello.
Hello.
Shaving.
What the devil do you think I'm doing?
Shaving. Got a cold?
Obviously.
Horrid sneezing when you're all covered with soap?
Look, I didn't ask for your company, and I don't want your comments.
Well, if it comes to that, I was here first and I didn't ask you to shave in the hall.
But there are reasons why I find it necessary for me to shave in the hall.
Don't bother to tell me. I already know them.
What do you mean?
You're the couple that arrived last night.
You're the couple that's leaving this morning.
Exactly.
Yes, but I don't see.
You still haven't tumbled to it yet.
Tumble to what?
Then a week ago, there were reasons why it was necessary for me to shave in the hall.
You tell me.
Yes, I did.
You lost your lunch.
Yes.
And you woke up with a cold.
Horrid sneezing when you're all covered with soap.
That man, he didn't drop your clothes in the bath, did he?
Oh, rather. Damn smart chap, Latimer.
That scoundrel.
No, he's quite right. One learns a lot down here.
Yes, but I shall leave his house at once. As soon as I have finished shaving.
You still want to? You haven't been here long enough, I suppose?
You don't want to, don't you want to anymore?
Latimer's quite right. One learns a lot down here.
So, what about the lady?
That is the devil of it.
I said, as a man of honor, you are bound to go on.
As a man of honor, ought I ever to have started?
Naturally, I can't give you opinion on that.
No, I suppose not. You want to be careful of that glass. The light isn't too good. You want to go all over it again.
I am quite capable of shaving myself. Thank you.
Just offering the voice of experience. You needn't listen.
Suppose you're right. Curious creatures, women.
Amazing.
You spend your whole life trying to understand them, and then you'll know further.
Weeks taught me all I want to know.
So unreasonable.
So unexpected.
What was it the poet said about them?
What didn't he say?
No, you don't know what I mean. A woman in our hours of ease.
Uncertain, coy, and hard to please.
Yes, that's the one. Then I grant you that.
Grant me it. I should think you do. They throw it at you with both hands.
Yes, but in the next two lines, he misses the point altogether. When toil and anguish wring the brow.
A ministering angel thou.
Yes, and it's a lie. It's simply a lie.
My dear fellow, it is the truest thing anybody has ever said. Only one gets too much of it.
Nonsense.
Evidently, you do not know anything about women.
I don't know anything about women.
You said just now that you didn't.
Well, I didn't say that. What did I say?
If you did know anything about women, you would know there's nothing they like more than this ministering angel business.
Ministering angel.
Won't you have a little more of this? And won't you have a little more of that? And you must eat.
Do you really think they talk like that?
How else do you think they talk?
My good man. Take my own case for example. Here I am, particularly nasty cold, first I've ever had in my life. And I come down to have a bit of breakfast, not wanting it particularly, but feeling for the sake of my health I have to try and eat something. And what happened?
You eat too much.
Oh, it is you, sir. I intend to leave your house at once.
Oh, dear me, you can't go out like that. Not with a bit of soap behind the ear.
Are they here? Right. At once?
You'd better come with us then, we're just going.
Oh, the four of you, a nice little party.
And we're leaving this house at once. Are you ready?
Well, I've just taken my hat off, and you can't travel like that.
No, she means the costume this time.
Latimer, I demand that I have my clothes restored to me.
Wet or dry, you shall have them.
Oh, but...
Nicholas,
Oh.
where are you? Are you ready, darling? Leonard?
Leonard?
Eustacia?
Eustacia! Well, isn't anybody going to say anything? Mr. Latimer, while Leonard is thinking of something to say, perhaps you can introduce me to his wife.
I beg your pardon. Eustacia, this is Anne.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Leonard, this is Nicholas.
We've met, quite old friends.
I repudiate the friendship. We met under false pretenses. Lord, I can't think of anything to say.
Then don't say it, old boy. Here we all are, and we've got to make the best of it.
Yes, but I...
Leonard, you have a cold?
A very nasty cold.
It'll be better once he's finished his breakfast.
I have finished my breakfast a long time ago.
Oh, excuse me, I misunderstood.
I have been shaving.
But Leonard, I don't understand. I've never known you ill before.
I never have been ill before. I'm ill now. Very ill. Nobody minds. Nobody minds at all. This fellow Lambert and Vagels.
In Vagels.
I shall pronounce it how I like. It's about time I said to myself, I've been far too patient. You inveigle me here and purposefully give me a cold. You are entirely unmoved by my sufferings, instead of which you mock the very simple breakfast which I have forced myself to eat. And you run away with my wife at a time when I am ill and unable to protect her. And you, Eustacia, you surprise me. Eustacia, you surprise me. I didn't think you had it in you.
A masterful summing up of the case. Well, I hope you're all ashamed of yourselves.
Leonard, how rash of you to think of running away with a cold. Poor boy. You must take care of yourself. Eustacia will take care of you. Poor boy. Nasty cold and nobody looked after him. Mr. Latimer, I shall need some mustard, hot water, and eucalyptus.
But of course,
You see what happens when somebody who understands illness comes on the scene? Hot water, eucalyptus, mustard. She has it all at her finger ends.
Yes,
Dominic, a small mustard and water for his lordship.
It's to put his feet in, not to drink.
Large mustard and water.
yes,
And if you have any eucalyptus?
yes, my lady. We got some in especially for his lordship.
Did Mr. Nicholas absorb all of the last bottle?
Yes, sir.
I fairly lived on it.
Is there anything else his lordship will require?
What about a mustard plaster?
I said, mind your own business, please.
No, I don't think there's anything else, thank you.
I call that very unfair. I had to have one.
Did you? Well, Eustacia, then.
2 mustard plasters. We mustn't deny his lordship anything.
Yes, sir.
Now come away from the door, darling. Here, lean on me. There. Is that comfy?
Yes, thank you.
Surely one can walk with a cold in his head.
No, it's very dangerous.
Nicholas speaks as an expert.
We'll have you fixed up right away, dear.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
Now, as Nicholas said just a moment ago, here we all are. We've got to make the best of it. So, what are we going to do?
Well, leave me out of it. I can make my own arrangements if you'll excuse me.
I thought your ladyship might require a thermometer for his lordship's temperature.
Thank you. And you're bringing the other things?
Yes, my lady, as soon as ready.
Thank you. Now, dear, under the tongue?
No, but I don't think that's
Oh, don't try to talk.
I say,
Well,
not too loud.
well,
Well, as a man of honor, where do I fit in? I want to do the right thing.
naturally, Nicholas, it's what's expected of you.
I thought if I slipped away now, unostentatiously.
Without a word of farewell.
That's just what I was wondering. Would anything in the way of a farewell be in good taste?
I see your point.
Don't think I'm not as devoted to Eustacia as I ever was.
But given the present circumstances, you feel that you could worship her from afar with more propriety?
Yes. You see, I had no idea they were so devoted.
But their devotion may not last forever.
Exactly, that's why I thought I'd slip away now.
Oh, Nicholas, Nicholas.
I don't want to say anything against Eustacia.
There are so many people who don't want to say anything against Eustacia.
Look out, here's Miss Anne.
And you're just in time. Mr. Nicholas, won't you advise?
Say, shut up.
Mr. Latimer, I went upstairs intending to get my things and find my way to the nearest railway station, but there are reasons why now I cannot. I thought I should let you know.
You weren't really thinking of going, were you? I'm so glad you changed your mind.
There are reasons why I had to.
Bless them. I believe she stayed behind, Nicholas, just so that she could give you advice.
Oh no, what's wrong with Mr. Nicholas?
Very good of you and all that, but it's really a question a gentleman ought to settle for himself.
What Nicholas wants to know is ought he to collect his things and head off to the nearest railway station?
Oh, no.
There you have it, Nicholas.
Well, perhaps you're right.
There.
Ah, his lordship's temperature. This is an exciting moment in the history of the House of Lords.
I say, do you really think I ought to stay?
Please, Mr. Nicholas, I want you to stay.
Right, then I'll stay.
109.
I say, what ought it to be?
98.
Oh, good Lord, I'm dying.
It's just 99. A little over normal, Leonard. Nothing the matter.
That's right. 99. I should never have forgiven myself if it had been 109.
It's all right. I'm just going to,
Going to what?
Nicholas is going to insist that we have a conversation to find out where we are.
Well, things aren't as they were, are they? If I'd known Leonard was so ill, though I've seen so little of him lately, and I've never known him ill before.
Well, we must arrange ourselves properly. Nicholas. Eustacia. Anne. Now, are we all here? We are. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall begin the ceremonies with a speech.
I say, must you?
Certainly.
Hush, dear.
But I didn't say anything.
You were just going to.
I resume. By a fortunate confrontation of circumstances, or as a more illiterate man might say, by a little bit of luck, two runaway couples find themselves under my roof. No need to mention names. You can all guess for yourselves. Now, I call upon my noble, this is the end of my speech, Philip. I call upon the noble friend to my right to explain to us why he left the devoted wife by his side to travel upon the continent.
Well,
Naturally, Leonard does not wish to say anything against Eustacia. This is to his credit. But perhaps the devoted wife by his side wishes to say something against Leonard.
You neglected me, Leonard. You know you did. And especially when I was so ill.
my dear, you were always ill. That was the trouble.
And you were never ill. That was the trouble. Oh, you hops ruffian. I don't suppose he ever had a cold, or lost his wallet, or broke his leg, or gave a rotten speech in his House of Commons. If Eustacia could not feel sorry for you, for whom else could she feel sorry for but herself? I don't suppose he even lost his umbrella.
He had to have lost that.
Eustacia, ladies and gentlemen, is one of those dear women, one of those sweet women, one of those delightful women. Let me know if I'm laying it out too deep. One of those adorable women who must either care or be cared for. She couldn't care for Leonard. Leonard wouldn't care for her. Hence the Dover Road.
How well you understand, Mr. Latimer.
Enter my friend Nicholas. Nicholas, oh Nicholas.
What's this about?
Anything you say will be used in evidence against you. Proceed, my young friend.
Well, there she was.
Lonely,
Exactly.
while her beast of a husband, fingers crossed, Leonard, was rioting in the House of Lords, and his little wife cried at home. Then out spake bold Sir Nicholas. This also was composed in my back.
Oh.
Then out spake bold Sir Nicholas.
Well, you see.
I see. And so here we all are.
Except me.
I guessed at you, Anne. Did I guess right?
Yes.
And so, here we all are. Now, what are we going to do? My house is at your disposal for as long as you wish. The door is open for those who wish to go. Eustacia?
My duty is to stay here. To look after my husband.
That will settle Eustacia. Anne?
Out of necessity, I must stay here.
That will settle Anne. Nicholas?
I stay here from choice.
That will settle Nicholas. Leonard? And that will settle Leonard.
Nicholas,
Hello.
where are you?
Coming.
Oh, how silly you are.
Do you think all men are silly?
I did.
Well, it depends on what they're doing.
Oh.
I say it has been rather jolly here these last 3 days, hasn't it?
It has, hasn't it?
We've got on sort of friendly.
We have, haven't we?
You've been very nice to me.
Well, you've been nice to me.
I would have gone, you know, if it weren't for you.
I don't know what I would have done if you had gone.
You did ask me to stay, didn't you?
I couldn't let you go.
Do you know what you said? You said, please, Mr. Nicholas, I want you to stay. I shall always remember that. Please, Mr. Nicholas, I want you to stay. I wonder what made you think of saying that.
Well, I wanted to get to know you. And I wanted you to think of me as, well, as your friend.
And we are friends, Anne, aren't we?
I think we are now, Nicholas.
Friends.
Nicholas?
Yes.
I want you to do something for me.
Anything, Anne, anything.
Well, I don't know whether I ought to ask you.
Oh, of course you ought.
Well, you see, we are friends. Almost like brother and sister.
I wouldn't put it quite like that.
Well, I thought I might ask you.
Of course, Anne, I would do anything for you.
Well, will you lend me £1, 2 and 6 pence till next Monday?
Lend you?
Well, you see, today's Friday, and I can send it off on Sunday. I know one ought not borrow money from men, but I knew you'd understand, because you're almost like a brother.
But I don't understand.
Well, you see, I have 3 and 4 pence halfpenny, and it costs £1, 2 and 6 to get home. It's a pity the way men always pay for us, and then when we really need money, we haven't got any. I have some at home. I wish I had brought it, but I promise I'll pay you back.
Why do you so suddenly want to leave?
So suddenly, I've wanted it since that first morning. I went upstairs to get my things, and I looked inside my purse and found 3 and 4 pence halfpenny. What was I to do?
Anyone would have lent you anything.
Leonard, for instance?
Well, no, you couldn't have asked Leonard. But Latimer,
Mr. Latimer? The man that brought us here and locked us up here and has been playing Providence to us? What was I to do? Get on my knees and say, poor sweet Mr. Latimer, will you lend me £1, 2 and 6 pence so I can run away from your horrid house? Really?
well, you've been pretty friendly with him these last 3 days.
Naturally, you're polite to a man when you're staying in his house. That's different.
As a matter of fact, Latimer's been jolly decent. He kept us both from making silly asses of ourselves.
You think I'm grateful to him for that? Does any man understand any woman?
Are you suggesting I don't understand women?
I'm suggesting you lend me £1, 2 shilling and 6 pence.
Fine. You're in such a confounded hurry to get away from here. Do you mind, oh, Silver?
Not at all.
Such a confounded hurry to get away from here.
Why ever should I want to stay?
Why would she want to stay? Why do you think I was staying?
Mr. Latimer's so jolly decent.
Suppose if I told you what I really thought, you'll get on your high horse and refuse the money from me, so I won't tell you.
You didn't think I was in love with you, did you, Nicholas? After 3 days? Oh, Nicholas!
Here,
friend.
To a friend.
Lent from a friend.
Lent from a friend.
Oh, thank you, Nicholas. Oh, I do thank you, Nicholas. Oh.
I'm damned. Hello, do you want to come here?
Oh, yes, but plenty of room for all of us.
Yes, thank you. Leonard's not very strong. His temperature's up again today. You will be better on the sofa, darling. I am sorry to trouble you.
Not at all. I was just going anyhow.
Nonsense. Nonsense. Stay and talk with us. Plenty of room for all of us.
Got to get my pipe left it upstairs. I come out.
Yes, but you will come back.
Oh, right tell.
Come and keep us company. It's perfectly all right, Eustacia. Perfectly all right. Thank you very much.
Another cushion for your back, darling.
No, thank you, Eustacia.
Quite sure?
Quite sure, thank you.
I can easily get it for you.
Very well.
That's right. You must be comfortable. There. Now is that better, darling?
Yes, thank you, Eustacia.
Anything else you want, I can get it for you at once. Another rug for your knees, perhaps?
No, thank you, Eustacia.
You wouldn't want a hot water bottle?
No, thank you, Eustacia.
You've only got to say, you know. Would you like me to read to you, or shall we talk?
Read. No talk. Read to me.
It's for you to say, darling.
Read to me, Eustacia.
Very well. We'll begin where we left off. Didn't get very far and I've marked the place. Yes, here we are, the sandy deserts of Arabia and Africa. Now, are you sure you're all right, darling?
Quite sure.
Then I will begin. Happily for the repose of mankind, the moderate system recommended by the wisdom of Augustus was adopted by the fears and vices of his immediate successors. Engaged in the pursuit of pleasure or the exercise of tyranny, the first Caesars seldom showed themselves to the armies or to the provinces, nor were they disposed to suffer that those triumphs which their indolence neglected should be usurped by the conduct and valor of their lieutenants. And then there's another footnote. Shall we take them all afterwards or take them as they come, darling? What do you think? Shall they take them as they come?
Yes, dear.
Very well. This is footnote 5. Germanicus, Sidonius, Paulinus, and Agricola were checked and recalled within the course of their victories. Corbulo was put to death. What a shame. But then I guess it really doesn't matter because it's only a footnote. Are you liking the book, darling?
Very much, dear.
It's very well written, but I don't think it's very interesting. I don't think Mr. Latimer has very good taste in books. I asked him to recommend the 2 most interesting books for me to read aloud, and he said the 2 that he knew were Carlyle's French Revolution and Gibbon's Roman Empires. Fancy. There are 4 volumes of them. 600 pages in a volume. We're at page 19 now.
Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No. It's perfectly all right. Eustacia was just reading to me. You mustn't tire yourself out here. Say in the talk.
What book? Carlyle's French Revolution.
Certainly not Gibbon's Roman Empires.
Any good?
Fascinating, isn't it, Leonard?
Yes, very.
You ought to try Carlyle, old chap.
Is he good?
Oh, Toppy.
Good gracious, I have to be dressing for dinner.
Yes, it is about that time.
No, dear. It's not safe for you to change tonight. Maybe tomorrow night, perhaps.
That's what you said last night.
But your temperature is up again.
I expect it's only because the book was so exciting.
Yes. Yes, that's it.
But I took his temperature before I began reading.
Perhaps yesterday's installment was still hanging about me.
Not tonight, dear. Just to please his Eustacia.
But very well.
That's a good boy.
No, you can change in 5 minutes, old chap. Let's stay and talk.
Right, sir.
Well,
Yes?
no, nothing.
Curious creatures, women.
Amazing.
They're so unexpected.
So unreasonable.
Yes.
I hate England this time of year.
So do I.
Do you go south as a rule?
As a rule.
Monty?
Sometimes. I have thought of Nice.
That's not bad. I prefer Cannes myself.
There's not much in it.
No. I say, look here. Between ourselves, and I mean quite between ourselves, I'm about fed up with women.
Absolutely.
You are too.
Oh, rather, I should think so.
But they're so dashed unreasonable.
So unexpected.
Had you booked your rooms?
At Nice, yes.
So had I.
Okay.
Yeah. I say, what about it?
You mean continuing on without...
That's right.
It's rather a scheme. But then we wouldn't waste the rooms. There's
Right.
only one set of them. Tell you what, I'll flip you whether we go to Nice or Cannes.
Right. You, ready?
Tails.
You mind going to camp?
Just as soon, really. When shall we go? Tomorrow?
Might not get a chance tomorrow. Why not tonight? Seems a pity to waste the opportunity.
You mean while Eustasia's dressing?
I mean the opportunity. Stay the night at Dover, we'll cross in the morning.
She'll be after us.
Nonsense.
My dear man, you do not know Eustasia.
I don't know Eustasia well.
She'll be after you like a bird. You've never seen Eustasia when she has someone ill to look after.
Never seen Eustasia well.
You've only had 3 days of her. I've had 6. Lord, look here, we shall have to...
Well, Leonard, how are you getting on?
I say, just the chap we were looking for.
Leonard, don't shh Nicholas when he wants to speak to me.
It's all right, old man. Not of us a sportsman.
Yeah, you see the reputation I have in the West End. Now, what is it you want to do? Run away?
I say,
Well.
however did you guess?
Leonard's car's had steam up for the past 24 hours. Just waiting for a word from its owner.
By Jove.
And Nicholas is going to?
Yes, I thought I should be getting on. Very grateful and all that, but, you know, can't stay forever.
But I thought, well, Nicholas is going to.
Look, you do understand, of course. When I'm feeling better, we'll start fresh. We'll concentrate a bit, you know, but when you're ill or you're supposed to be ill, well, perhaps think of this.
Or rather,
Leonard, why these explanations? Who am I to interfere in other people's matrimonial affairs? You and Nicholas are going goodbye.
yes, but what about Eustasia? She's not going to give up caring for Leonard just when she's getting into it. She'll be after him like a bird.
You want me to keep her here?
That's the idea, if you could.
Well, how can I keep her here if she doesn't want to stay?
Well, how do you keep anybody here?
Why, Leonard, I'm surprised at you. By the charm, courtesy of my old world hospitality, of course.
No. Well, I doubt that keeps Eustasia.
I'm afraid that is true. As a matter of fact, the more I think about it, the more I realize there is only one way to keep this devoted wife from the side of her afflicted and suffering husband.
What?
Dominic, his lordship and Mr. Nicholas are leaving. The car's waiting outside the gate. Have a bag packed for them at once.
Yes, sir.
And come back once you've seen to that.
Yes, sir.
The car can return in the morning, take over the rest of your luggage.
Good.
Yes, thank you very much. What were you saying about on the way of them?
What, the only way of keeping this devoted wife from the side of her afflicted and suffering husband?
Yes, what is it?
Someone else must be ill. Someone else must have a death blow. Eustasia must have someone else to look after.
I say, that's awfully sporting of you.
Sporting?
To sacrifice yourself like that.
Myself? No, not I. It's Dominic.
Yes, sir.
Dominic, are you ever ill?
Never, sir. Barring a slight shortness of breath.
Oh, that's awkward. I don't think you can care for shortness of breath.
I say, you could pretend to be ill.
With what object, sir.
Her ladyship is in training to be a nurse. She has already cured 2 stubborn cases of nasal catarrh with debility and fluctuating temperature. Should she conquer a third, she will earn her diploma and a gold medal from the Royal Therapeutical Society.
That's right.
And you would wish me to be that third case, sir?
That's the idea.
And be nursed well again by her ladyship?
Such would be your inestimable privilege.
I am sorry, sir, but I must beg respectfully to decline.
Say, be a sport.
Look, you should not lose anything.
What his lordship wishes to imply is that during your period of convalescence, not only would your mental horizons be expanded, but that material blessings would also flow. Isn't that right?
A commission on the gold medal, naturally.
I am sorry, sir, but I cannot see my way.
I say.
Well, thank you, Dominic.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, that tears it. You sure you don't want to give it a go? Chance of a lifetime to learn about the French Revolution.
After all, something must be done. Why not?
You will.
I will.
I say.
Don't wait. Fly. Fly.
Yes, we really must be going.
There's an awfully good bit in the second chapter.
I think I hear her ladyship coming.
Oh, good Lord.
Dominic, in consequence of your obstinate good health, I'm going to sacrifice, no, I'm going to embrace this great opportunity of mental and spiritual development.
Yes, sir. Very good of you, I'm sure, sir.
What sort of illness would you recommend?
How about a nice sprained ankle, sir?
You think that would go well?
Would avoid any interference with the usual habits at mealtime, sir. There's a sort of monotony about bread and milk. No inspiration about it at all.
Ooh, I hadn't thought of bread and milk.
You will have little else to think about if you attempt anything to do with the stomach, sir. Of course, you could have the usual cold, sir.
No, let us be original.
How about xerostomia, sir, spelled with an X?
Is that good?
Joseph tells me his father's had it for a long time.
Then perhaps we ought not to deprive him of it.
I looked it up in the dictionary one Sunday afternoon, sir. They described it as an unusual dryness of the mouth.
No, I said I wanted to be original.
Right so, sir.
Dominic! Dominic!
That is her ladyship, sir.
Quick. You must prevent her ladyship from entering until I have assumed a recumbent position.
Yes, sir.
Oh! Throwing it away. Oh, my head and
What is it?
oh, nothing, just a little touch of neuralgia.
Was it very bad?
Not as bad as it sounded.
Well, I know how bad it can be. Father gets it from time to time, and I help him send it away.
Anne,
Close your eyes.
but I don't want to now.
Go away soon.
Not too soon.
Aren't faces funny when they're upside down?
You have the most absurd little upside down face I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, do I?
Why do you wear your hat on your chin? Why do you wear a hat?
I'm going away.
Without a word of farewell.
I'm afraid so.
Oh,
I should have written
a postcard.
a letter.
With many thanks for your hospitality, sincerely yours.
Very sincerely.
P.S. I shall never see you again.
P.S. I shall never forget.
Ah, but you must.
Is it better?
It is just the same. It will always be the same. It is unthinkable it should ever be any way different. In 100 years, they shall find us just as we are. You may be a little tired, perhaps. Your fingers may ache. But I shall be lying here quite happy.
You will get 1 more minute. No more.
Then I shall rush off to the chemist and order 3 pennyworth of Anne's fingers. What is it?
Whispers.
Don't look round.
What is it? Was it?
An episode in your life. Over. Buried. Forgotten.
Thank you. Oh, I do thank you.
I have forgotten what you are thanking me for.
Beg your pardon, sir.
Go on. I'm having a neuralgia, Dominic.
Yes, sir, a stubborn complaint, as I have heard, sir.
Miss Anne is making me well. What is it?
Her ladyship says, will you please excuse her, she is not down tonight.
Shall we excuse her if she's not down tonight?
The fact is, sir, Joseph, the groom, is taken ill.
I
suddenly.
never thought of Joseph.
What's wrong with Joseph?
A trifling affliction of the throat, necessitating careful attention, her ladyship says.
Well, give her ladyship my thanks for looking after Joseph. And tell Joseph how very sorry I am for him.
Yes, sir.
You can't leave now, Anne. You have to chaperone Eustacia and me.
Oh.
Must you go?
Yes.
Back to your father.
Yes.
Then let us say goodbye now. There is magic in your fingers, which makes me think ridiculous thoughts. Let's say goodbye now.
Goodbye. I wish you had been my father.
Dominic, how old would you say I was?
More than that, sir.
Yes, I'm afraid you're right. Still, I look young. Sometimes I think I look too young.
Yes, sir.
Miss Anne has just asked me to be her father.
Very considerate of her, I'm sure, sir.
Yes. In order to prevent such mistakes in the future, from now on, I shall wear a long white beard.
Yes, sir. Shall I order one from the stores, sir?
Please.
Yes, sir. Is Miss Anne returning tomorrow, sir?
No. And don't overdo the length, Dominic. I like the crinkly sort.
Yes, sir. One of our more successful weeks on the whole, if I may say so, sir.
Yes. Yes. We must all do what we can, Dominic. We must all do what we can.
That's the only way, isn't it, sir?
I was losing uptown. My chauffeur said